Out. Okay, so we're recording and then live on Facebook. Press that too. All right, we are live. Let me see what that looks like on Facebook. Because maybe I can pass this off to some folks.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to silence my phone, actually, to tell the truth. All right, well, I do like to give folks about 5 minutes to kind of get in there to see what's going on. Give them about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, get all queued up here. Oh, there's more things I'm supposed to do. Choose where you want your post to be live. Okay. Here on. Oh, I'm not even finished doing what I need to do. Let's see. Go live. Okay, I guess it's now going live. Preparing live streaming preview. Okay. Oh, is there more information? Oh my goodness. Okay, there we are. Okay. All right, I'll go live. All right. Okay, there we are. Oh, okay, we're live. There's a funny picture of you drinking your water.
Oh, man.
Guess it's kind of stuck there. All right, well, you guys, I'm actually going to get started here, and want to welcome everybody here. Hello, BBC family, and our guest tonight. I'm Dr. Keisha Waddell, Executive Director of the Center for Blockchain Studies, and I'm coming before you with a follow-up interview with a blockchain influencer, Gina Malak, co-founder and CEO of BlockInterop, a IT solutions company committed to creating an innovative and decentralized healthcare ecosystem. And the last time we heard from Gina was during our BBC Virtual Blockchain Summit, where we learned that our company, BlockInterop, has a blockchain solution that aims to solve the issues of interoperability, accessibility, security, and stability of medical records around hospitals and healthcare clinics. So, and by the way, you can catch our replay of that interview in its entirety, along with 8 hours of other great content about blockchain, blockchain projects and blockchain business building. And you can do that at blockchainstudies.tech, as a matter of fact. And as a matter of fact, I want to actually take you to that page so I can show you real quick. Before we get started here, a little pause for the cause before we jump right into our discussion with Gina. Let me just show you where you'd go. Here is the Center for Blockchain Studies here at blockchainstudies.tech. Can you all see that? Can you see that? Everybody seeing that?
Yes.
I wonder. Okay, and then you just press courses there. And we have our virtual blockchain summit option here, along with several other options of content that you should avail yourself with once you get involved more with blockchain and understanding what it is. We can help you absolutely along with that. So back to Gina. Let's see how we want to start this out here. Get my questions together here. Let's see. Let's see. Yep, let's see. So yeah, by the way, so you did say that. So today Gina's here basically just to chat with us about her newest project, which is, and I want to make sure I get this right. Is it Triumph?
Triumph. Yes.
Triumph.
Triumph.
Yeah, you know what, you guys, whoever's working on these names, BlockInterop, Triumph. Okay.
You know, you have to do a play on words.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So she's here to talk to us about how I believe it's BlockInterop, how they're building a medical cannabis ecosystem. So,
Yes.
Talk to us about that. How did you make that leap?
All right. Well, thanks again, Dr. Keisha, for having me. It's a pleasure being on your show. You are definitely an influencer, so I really appreciate your service and what you're doing for our community. And that's really welcoming. So BlockInterop, BlockInterop is our healthcare, our venture that we have in the blockchain digital health space. Mm-hmm. And in building BlockInterop as a startup company, we've been getting a lot of inquiries with other verticals, other markets, such as insurance, even agriculture. And in agriculture was the industrial hemp that we were introduced to. And so with that, we decided with my partners, decided let's create another company that will be a company that will be a blockchain center company. I serve as the chief technology officer of this company. My partner, Sharon, serves as the CEO of the company. And then Tony, our other partner, he remains as the CFO with both blockchain, with BlockInterop and Triumph. Mm-hmm. And Triumph is the industrial hemp company. We're doing a blockchain solution. So how BlockInterop will be able to BlockInterop will interface with Triumph is that BlockInterop is a digital health company. So we are building digital health ancillary apps that will include blockchain technology, FHIR, as well as AI. So what we're doing with BlockInterop that will be able to interface with Triumph is we are building a pharmacy related, as medical cannabis is coming, into play and being legalized from state to state. There has to be some type of solution where now, it should be able to integrate with your medical records, with prescriptions. And one of our projects that BlockInterop is currently working on right now is that we're doing a provider recommendation app. So when, say for example, CBD is such a craze right now, right? Yes. and stores are popping up everywhere. It's all in the news. Yes. And so a lot of physicians are getting inquiries from their patients. What is the CBD stuff? What is CBD? And doctors right now cannot prescribe, but they can give recommendation. And that recommendation can be whatever dosage, whatever milligrams, daily intake, and so forth. There is a application out there in the marketplace right now for medical cannabis, but nothing for CBD. And so as a matter of fact, one of our investors at BlockInterop, he's a medical doctor, and he's actually helping us to create this module and coming on as not a developer, but he's helping us with requirements. And as we're building this app. So we are building this app. It's a recommendation app for doctors to be able to input patients' demographics, and as well as being able to provide a interface for recommendations. So now patients can, from their palm of their hand with their phones, will have their recommendations in their hand or in paper. Okay. For the prescription, not prescription, recommendation of CBD. Okay. And so that would interface with the Triumph ecosystem. So that's how we tied them both together. And so BlockInterop will be the exclusive partner with Triumph that will have all the digital health applications that will interface with Triumph.
Oh, that is tremendous. And you've created Triumph yourself, or was this already something that was in existence, and this is a strategic partnership?
We created it ourselves because over the summer, we were invited to come out to this farmer in Kentucky, and he wanted us to do a blockchain solution for his farm. He has a chicken farm, and he grows soybeans, and he want to convert his chicken farm into a hemp farm. He want to get rid of the chicken. He said chickens is messy, and he has like 8 cages with 22,000 chickens. So he serviced grocery stores and chains across the nation, and he wants to get out of the chicken business. And so with our partners, we were like, what can we do with this? You know, we can do, this is actually pretty huge, you know, this industrial hemp. And not only just, you know, the CBD and the cannabis part of it, but, you know, you have textiles, you have other type of derivatives that comes from industrial hemp. And so we decided to spin off another company and with that. And I was like, well, you know, because we have BlockInterop, we have to keep, I'm the CEO of BlockInterop. I have investors that I report to, a board of directors. I can't be focused over here. So, and I need to focus over here with BlockInterop.
Yes.
So what we did with the partnership, we decided to make Teron the CEO of that company, where I can be focused on BlockInterop, and then also building solutions and coming up with innovations, how BlockInterop will be able to interface and create digital health apps that will interface with Triumph.
Oh my gosh, that is so innovative. My goodness. Yes. So doctors will have their own app that they'll be able to push information to their patients.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And oh my goodness. And then certainly from what I've done a recent course on supply chain management, and there was certainly supply chain applications for the health industry. And one of the ideas they talked about was the idea of either I think it was patients being able to follow the supply chain of their prescription to the pharmacy. And there was also an application that would verify trials, you know, the trial process when a drug is being tested and things like that.
Yes.
The physicians, I think, would be able to follow the trail of how that process has come along, and so that they basically are understanding where their drugs are coming from, you know, because there's so much counterfeiting with drugs and things like that.
Yes.
So yeah, this is tremendous. So that might be another vertical for you.
Yeah. You know, and you know, we've, you know, as we're exploring this industry and talking to subject matter experts and physicians, that we are actually have whiteboarding different type of solutions that will be able to interface with digital health solutions that will be able to interface with Triumph, just particularly for that industrial hemp industry. So we're pretty excited. I've been speaking. Now I am like this. They're calling on me to speak not only for BlockInterop, but I'm speaking for Triumph as well as a speaker.
This is definitely a hot area. My goodness, and
it is.
I'm really loving that you're doing hemp in its entirety, because, like you said, it encompasses everything. You know, from the stems to the leaves of the flower, everything gets
everything
for that. Yeah. Let's see. So, you know, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was in coming up with this vertical, you know, how can the BBC family support the work of BlockInterop and Triumph in this through investment or of our investment of our time or money?
Yes, I mean, hey, let's get together. You know, let's sit down and see. Let's sit down and have a journey map of what we want to do. You know, and how we can definitely come aboard. We always are looking for advisors to add on to our team. Like I said, both companies are startup companies. BlockInterop, we had a handful of investors, angel investors that came along and invested in our company to help us stand us up. Now we're looking to meet with, we're meeting with venture capital groups and doing, our, I guess a security token. So we're doing a Reg D. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, Reg D. Raise. Is this it right? Yes. and with Triumph, it's a little different. We are actually bringing on a partner that partners that are actually want to fully fund the company, and this is just one part. Yes.
Wow, I was going to ask you about the funding model. Will there ever be an opportunity where non-accredited investors will be able to participate in supporting? Because I think when I looked it up at that time, when I was focused on just BlockInterop, I think it was just accredited investors.
Yes.
Were required.
Yes. Eventually, we are going to do a Reg A with BlockInterop, and we need to do it sooner than later, so that we can be able to bring in international dollars as well as non-accredited. So that is just another process of working with our security law attorney to do that raise for us as well, to do the legalities, handle that legalities of that aspect.
So would you say at this point one of the biggest, I guess, stumbling blocks or challenges to mass adoption in this area is now regulation, pretty much? Because truly, it looks like you've got, if there's a problem, there's a tech solution for it. It seems like now,
Yes.
It's amazing. So, is there any way that any of us could support in that arena, or what things are you seeing that would be really helpful to bring about some change in regulations in this area?
It's a sticky situation, because had we done this like an ICO way, wow, we probably would have been fully funded, probably would have raised $20 million by now. To me, it's awareness and being able to market your effectively effectively to accredited investors. The reason why we need to hurry up and do the Reg A is because, now we will be able to bring in other avenues, like we can do the crowdfunding platforms.
Yes.
And then raise up to, I think it's 1.5 or was it 1.4 million? So I think something like that with the crowdfunding.
Yeah. And may I ask you, why didn't you go the ICO route?
We didn't go the ICO route because it's illegal.
Okay. It's regulated product. Yes.
It's regulated. They're very, very strict now with ICOs here in the United States. If we were a international corporation, I probably would have did an ICO or IEO, which is an initial exchange offering, which we planning on doing with Triumph, with an IEO, and taking that offshore. With BlockInterop, we had to definitely go like the normal capital raise because it is a U.S. company. So we definitely had to follow the security laws and protocols of that. I wish we would have did a crowdfunding first, but we was advised to do a Reg D, accredited investors, and then go into the Reg A. Or Reg CF, I should say CF. There's so many regs. I'm just.
You know what? I know we're learning about it. As a matter of fact, we have our next virtual conference is actually going to focus on the 21st century crowdfunding approaches. To include tokenization. We're going to get into opportunity zones, and all that kind of thing. So, and crowdfunding.
See, probably help us with opportunity zones, and another thing too. We've been looking at hospitals, working with hospitals, with actually doing a pilot programs, because that's self-funding as well. With getting hospitals on board. We have an advisor that we just brought on that he sits on the board of directors of a few hospitals. And so we're going to put together a journey map of a plan of some of our digital health apps that we want to be able to present as a pilot. And then that will be kind of like a self-funding with hospitals' participation as well.
Oh my gosh, that's tremendous. And are you primarily working with hospitals in Georgia at this point, or are you kind of leveraging some of your international contacts from Dubai and such?
Yes, both. Actually, I was talking to my Dubai contact today.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, I'm going back to Dubai in November, and I will be facilitating a workshop on FHIR, and that's fast health interoperability. So it's really taking an HL7 message and converting that into a FHIR standard. So it's web services. So now you're building apps, digital health apps. Wow. And so I'm coming there as a subject matter expert and as the facilitator of the workshop. So Dr. Asma, who is the vice chair of the DHA, he's the organizer. And so we've been planning for this, and which is going to open up a lot of exposure for BlockInterop, because now we're talking about the MENA region. So we're talking about North Africa, all the Middle East as well, those regions and those stakeholders were going to be at this conference. So I'm pretty excited about that. The opportunities that are ahead.
And talk to me about FHIR. I might not be familiar with that, and I'm sure others may not be either. What is FHIR?
So FHIR, FHIR, okay? Yes. Fast interoperability, health, FHIR, resources. So legacy, you have hospital systems, how they communicate. Legacy-wide was through HL7 messages, and that's just a language where one system be able to communicate with another system. And that's using IP and ports communication. With FHIR, with web services, now you're talking about applications, apps on your handheld, web services, or pads, notepads.
Okay.
And now we're talking about apps, and now hospital systems can be able to interface with, integrate with mobile apps. And those mobile apps will be able to do hospital services based on web services. So that is FHIR. And so with FHIR, you have to translate either HL7 to FHIR language, which is JSON. I know I'm getting a little technical. I'm a techie. And then JSON can be able to interface with blockchain nodes or AI and any other type of solutions. It's interoperable. So where HL7 is not so interoperable.
Well, listen, it definitely sounds like, with me not being a technical person, it sounds like everything really is in place. So in your mind, how soon can we see these kinds of things, in play for the everyday consumer? We see the pharmaceutical ads on TV and that kind of stuff where they're like, it's always saying, ask your doctor about blah, blah, blah. So when do you think we'll get to the point where we'll see your app, or something like that starts to become a little bit more out here for the consumer to now ask their doctor, about.
Yes. Well, we're in development now. BlockInterop, our flagship app that we have is called Loop. Loop is an app where, for example, your loved one is in a hospital, and you're away, you're at work or you're out of state or just not there at the hospital physically. Well, with this app, of course, with permission, it's permission-based, because the patient will grant who have access to their medical records. You will get an update on how the patient is doing. If they're out of surgery, post-surgery, how, any type of update on that patient and how that patient is doing, that your loved ones will be able to log into the app and get notifications on how you're doing in your care and so forth. Because a lot of times hospitals are inundated, nurses' stations are inundated with calls. And so to make nurses' jobs more, proficient and attentive to their patients, they can't be on taking calls all day, from loved ones. So now with this app, it will make it a little bit more engaging, more informative, as well as nurses and providers can be able to focus more on patient care rather than taking phone calls and, nurses stations and the switchboards and so forth. So we're coming out with that app. That is the inpatient module, and then we're going to have an outpatient module. So once the patient is discharged, now you still have this app, and you can be able to use it with your wearables to collect your vital signs. We'll have a MAR attached, so it's a medication reminder as well, and any other patient education for you and your loved ones and your caretakers. So pretty much is going to meet, we're building applications that are going to meet what they call meaningful use phase 3, where hospitals are now, there's a mandate that hospitals have to meet meaningful use phase 3. And what that means is that patients will be more interactive with with their medical records at any given time, real time, rather than calling our hospital or going to the hospital and getting a record of your medical records, which is time consuming. Now you can be able to have access to it with your mobile phones. So yeah, that's our focus. So we're actually developing Loop right now. That should be available by the first quarter of next year.
Is that right? Will it be both Android and iOS?
Yes.
Oh, good. God bless you. Because I'm Android. It seems like a lot of stuff comes out iOS. So I want to make sure. Oh my gosh. You know what? Has that idea been shared with any nurses? Because I know I'll be pushing this out if my Nursing Detroit group isn't listening right now. They're going to push that like, I can't even tell you right now. So I'm so glad I asked that question and you shared that information. That is huge.
Yes, huge. And we got a couple of hospitals, I won't say any names, but one in Philadelphia and in Atlanta. They're interested, very interested. And once we develop it and deploy it, they're going to be part of our pilot program. And then once we get it out there, they'll probably be one of our first customers.
Well, speaking of pilots, can hospitals or health systems raise their hand to also be testers of this?
Yes.
How would they get in touch with you?
They can get in contact with me at Gina Malak at BlockInterop.com.
Okay.
Or Sharon Collier, which is C. Collier at BlockInterop.com.
Okay, we will get that out. Are they also able to, is there somewhere like on your website in case that, as things go out further, that hospitals could tap into or something like that?
Yes, we are going to develop a page specifically for that app. Yeah, but right now we don't have it out there published, not quite yet.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that email will be out. You might be inundated because I got to tell you, that's the one thing that, when I'm talking blockchain and like I said, I'm a part of the Nursing Detroit group here on the Facebook group headed by Felicia Scholler. They are always asking, well, where is it? This is great. All of this stuff is great, but where is it? And how can we meaningfully use it? And that's it right there. That is it.
Yes.
So, if we could get in on testing that, and are you looking for just nurses, obviously people in healthcare to test Loop? And
nurses, providers, mostly people who would do the patient interface, the care. Okay. So it's mostly nurses will be using this application.
Would there be a place for caregivers, like the types who come to the homes and such like that?
Yes, and that would be the outpatient module that we have with this app, because we have the inpatient and the outpatient. Mm-hmm. So the outpatient module will have medication reminder, any patient information as far as like education, patient education, as well as directives. So if there's any directives for care, that will be all integrated with the app on the outpatient. So it will be a provider interface, and then it will be the patient interface with the app.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm excited about that right there. My heart is jumping on that because I live in an area here in suburb of Detroit, and there are so many healthcare, elder care type places that are just being built just constantly over here. And I could see something like that even being tremendous for those places. So as soon as you get some literature, I want some so I can out to go around and help people. I would love to be that person to help people learn how to even leverage that technology. So if you
my partner had mentioned that too. This will be great in senior home and senior care because
yes,
people want to be able to check on their loved ones, and
absolutely.
And it will be video enabled as well. So we'll have a kind of like a telehealth feature to it, as well as a patient update, like a text feature to it as well.
Okay, so you know what I'm hearing is an opportunity for a bit of a sales force with you, a training source. Again, raising my hand, and I'm raising my hand for our BBC members, I'm sure, who are trying to get in where they fit in. I love it. It's tremendous. So I can't wait to see you go forth with this.
Yeah, we got to bring you on as an advisor. We do. I was talking to my partners. I was like, we can bring Keisha on board as one on our.
God bless you. All right, Dr. Keisha. Yes. All right. That's PhD, not MD, but it works. Yes.
Not MD. People get confused. I'm in healthcare, but no, I'm just a PhD.
Your PhD. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. So I hadn't even been giving you your respects. Okay, we got Dr. Malak in here. All right. All righty. Well, very good. Well, listen, this is so exciting. I know this is what you're saying. You had gotten techie there at first, but I mean, this is resonating with so many people, I am sure. And like I said, we are Black Blockchain Consultants are some of your biggest fans. We'll be in touch with you to be sure. And we'll be here to support your project, like I said, in terms of our investments of time and money into the project once, you get to that stage. So I want to just thank you for your time. I won't hold you any longer, but I know you're busy, but this has been rich and we're watching you. We're here to support.
Appreciate your support. Absolutely.
Okay. All righty. Any ending words you have for us or for our BBC family and friends viewing this?
I just say, I would say, anybody that's getting into blockchain or technology, be very innovative. There's lots of opportunities for digital health because of the meaningful use. Phase 3, hospitals have to be able to provide solutions where patients will be able to interface with their medical records using mobile apps. So if anybody have any ideas, especially in the healthcare industry, please reach out to BlockInterop because we are a digital health. And if anything we can do, if you come out with something that's really innovative, that will make healthcare more efficient, come talk to us. And let's whiteboard and see if we can put this together.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. You're going to have something to work on. I'm telling you.
To work with developers, people, our company, we want to have a innovations division in our company. And that's all they do is going to be whiteboarding different ideas and different solutions. And that's all they're doing is creating, kind of like creating a TV show. You have created a sitcom. Now we're creating apps. And so we're open to developers to come aboard and come work with us.
Okay. And you know what, that again, so encouraging because again, a lot of these ideas may come from just regular people, and then you have those developers who can bring it to life. So yes. Again, our angle in Black Blockchain Consultants is to find the business opportunities given our existing professional skill sets. Again, a lot of those not being technical, but I'm seeing constantly, what I constantly preach because I'm an educator, I'm constantly preaching this, is that we've got to stay creative. We got to tap into our creativity, particularly in a time of so much automation and whatnot. That's what separates us from the robots and the artificial intelligence, is being creative and being able to work through those gray areas. The computers and the robots have got the zeros and the ones and the black and the white, but that gray, that's all us human, even though we still need the humans to program the AI. But to stay human, stay really dealing with those sticky issues and, talk that stuff out and be really innovative is what I'm always preaching, and I'm always leaning towards really the problems, or the limitations, because it's in those things that we can be creative to solve them. So as much as I love my technology, I'm not just following every shiny thing kind of thing. I'm always balancing the limitations and the capabilities of the technology for the purpose of constant innovation. So I am so glad to hear that you are open to that and you have a space for it, and you're not so heavy on the tech where you're not able to acknowledge the creative stuff that can come from just realizing what we're able to do now with this technology. So I'm excited. I'm telling you, it's just a great time to be alive. I really tell you, there's a lot of things going on wrong and whatnot, but at the same time, there's just so much that can be accomplished given the capabilities that technology provides these days. So again,
to a shift in with our company, because we were just so focused on blockchain, but not digital health. So we decided, we were like, we're going to interface with Patientory. Now we're a partner with Patientory.
Yes.
Patientory is going to be our BaaS, our blockchain as a service. So now that we can just focus on the digital health, the hybrid, which is FHIR and AI, and those applications, and being able to interface with Patientory as our blockchain as a service.
Okay. All right. Well, that's how that ties in. I did mean to ask you about Patientory, how you guys were key partners.
Really good relationship with Krista. So we actually just did a interview with CoinDesk jointly together, and
awesome.
We have some things that in the pipe that we're actually doing together, and we're part of the Patientory Association. So now we have access to their advisors and resources, which is great. So to me, it's like, why reinvent the wheel?
Absolutely.
Trying to be competitive, her competitor too as well. We don't need two healthcare blockchain companies.
Correct.
Let's see how we can collaborate and do well together.
Exactly. And I think that really is the spirit of blockchain technology, is for things to be collaborative. I mean, at this point,
Yes.
That's where the interoperability comes. That's where all this exchange of data of, all these multiple partners. I mean, that's what makes this really work.
Right. Right.
Working together for meaningful use. Yeah.
Right. And it provides us quicker time to the market. Indeed. So now we can build our apps, and we don't have to worry about building out a blockchain ecosystem, where now we just focus on our apps, and that gives us a quicker time to the market. Because when you have all these hybrid of technologies and you're trying to build AI and blockchain and this solution and that's going to take years.
Correct. And the focus really should be on the problem and how the tech can support that.
Yes.
Because if you live long enough, there'll be some more tech that will come along that will answer some more problem. So the focus should always be on solving problems. That's my take on it, because again, my PhD is in instructional technology, so we have the design thinking kind of approach to things. So I'm always living in that space of disequilibrium and sticky problems and things like that. So this is
now with Triumph is going to be a blockchain ecosystem.
Yes.
So now we're going to be we want to work with applications and software companies that are looking for the blockchain solution to be able to interface they seed to sell with a blockchain supply chain, because we're going to be like a supply chain. Also, data broker, not data brokering, but also brokering. So commodities, we're looking at doing a commodities platform for Triumph with the exchange of hemp. So bringing that into the ecosystem. So you can say that Triumph is kind of like Patient Tory in the industrial hemp industry. And so we're building that ecosystem. So that will be a blockchain solution.
Excellent, excellent. And I'm telling you, I'm really watching the healthcare industry with their blockchain applications for even its application for education, because, with education, there's tons of records, there's tons of, like their academic records, and there's authenticity, issues and identity and different things like that. So the vertical or the application of that tech can still go that route. So I'm really watching how blockchain is being used in healthcare, because I see immediately an overlay for education in similar ways. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I know I feel like the country preacher, like this is my fifth close, but it's always good stuff.
You take offering.
Yeah. That's Cash App, Dr. Widow. Yes. Yeah, but anyway. All right. Thanks so much for your time.
God bless you.
We'll be in touch.
We will be in contact, you and I, sometime next week, and we can talk about how we can bring you on board with our companies.
God bless you. Absolutely. Right on time. Okay. Thank you so much. Signing off then, folks. Thank you so much for your time, BBC family and friends. And if there are any questions, I don't see any questions in the Q&A space. I didn't want to forget that part. I don't see any questions, but certainly we'll be posting Gina's email and whatnot should you have any questions, and certainly interface in the BBC Facebook page and reach out. You can even reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. So I'm Dr. Keisha Waddell signing off for BBC on our Wednesday interview with our blockchain influencers. Have a good one, Dr. Gina. Okay. Have a good evening. Thanks so much for your time. All right. Bye-bye now.